As the title would suggest, we're going to do a review on my 2016 Volkswagen Tiguan R-Line. Now, this isn't going to be like any other car review. I'm not a middle-aged mum, I don't do the school run, and I don't go and get the groceries in it. I in fact actually use it as a 25-year-old car guy, and it gets used for a whole host of car-related things. So, our car is a VW Tiguan 2016 plate R-Line, which means it has all the lovely bumpers and trims. It's a 7-speed automatic DSG 2-litre diesel. It's 150 brake, so it is a little bit gutless, but overall it's a good package. Some of the good features on it as well, it's got 19-inch alloy wheels. 20-inch, I mean it's got 20-inch wheels. It's got LED adaptive headlights, LED tail lights, and a whole host of other things, including a full panoramic sunroof, which I must say is my favourite feature of the car overall. So let's talk about some of the financial sides of this car. I purchased this car around 6 months ago, and it cost me the grand total of £18,700, which isn't too bad, and that was predominantly because I went for an older car with higher mileage. Anything from a 17-18 plate onwards with less miles, you're probably talking in the region of about £26,000–27,000, and well, I just couldn't justify that sort of money. Now, on another note, I did have a little bit of finance to help buy this, so I did loan about £13,000, and with the interest in today's market, that will generally rack up quite a bit of money on top of my original purchase price. But at the end of the day, it is worth it because I've got a car with good spec, and had I got something that was a bit newer with less spec, paying all that money, I think I'd been disappointed. So some of the features of this car are absolutely awesome, and had I had that sacrifice, I wouldn't have had them, but we'll get onto that later on. So we know the car cost me £18,700 with my loan. By the time I pay that off in 6 years, you're probably looking at around £25,000. Is it worth it? 100%. I absolutely rate this car. I've just sold my pride and joy of 4 years, my Volkswagen Scirocco, and I haven't turned back once because this car is everything I want it to be and more. I may potentially be wrong, but the tax on this is £275 a year, which obviously I pay monthly, which isn't horrendous, but on a car that's got start-stop, you generally seem to think that that would bring the cost down. That has on previous cars that I've had. In terms of insurance, as a 25-year-old, I think I pay roughly £500 to £600, but again I pay that monthly, and actually with my girlfriend on it, that has brought it down a little bit. The tow bar is a aftermarket thing that I have had fitted, and surprisingly enough, declaring that to my insurance hasn't brought the cost too much higher either. It's actually brought it down. Now, without sounding like a Karen, because I'm not a middle-aged woman and I don't do the school run, as we already know, but miles per gallon and fuel economy is something that everyone wants to know when they buy a car. Now, this car isn't too bad. I roughly get around 40 miles per gallon, depending how I drive it, which isn't too bad. You're looking around about 500 miles per full tank of diesel on this thing, which is probably equivalent to about £80. Again, that will obviously depend on how you drive, what you're driving, the roads you're driving on, if you're on a motorway. Just for a little bit of comparison, I sold a Mark 1 Caddy pickup, and I actually delivered the car. I think it was a 3-hour journey, I can't remember exactly where it was, but there and back, 6 hours of driving, it only cost me £40. So you're towing a car and a trailer and it only costs £40 worth of diesel. Now that is pretty good going. Overall, it's a pretty cost efficient car to have, and I would strongly rate it and recommend it to anyone who's in the market and they're not 100% sure whether they should buy one or not. There is something about this car though, as lovely as it is, and I wouldn't change anything about it, but previous to this I had a Mark II potentially Tiguan, a white one, which was an R-Line again, and it was really nice. But there's just something about that car which I preferred over this one. Now, with my hobby of towing a show car and going to car shows and all the rest of it, I think that I maybe quite liked it because I wasn't so protective over it. It was a car that obviously I wanted to look after, but it was just a general dog's body. It was, you could chuck work at it and you weren't worried. Whereas with this Tiguan, it's through no fault of its own, but it's so nice and so luxurious, and it's a lovely car that you're a little bit scared to actually use it for what it was made for, which is a little bit, I don't know, just seems a little bit silly really. So something you will notice straight away when you turn the ignition on is the lovely electronic display on the dashboard, and there's a multitude of different features and different views you can have, which I think is absolutely brilliant. You can change all these dials, have what you like, and then you can switch between your Bluetooth, your radio, your telephone, your vehicle status. Mine's telling me some tyre pressures checking, and everything is just all there in one place. Moving to the center of the car, you've got everything on here on this big touchscreen display that you could need. Radio settings, multimedia, phone, and it does have voice activation in here, which is a lovely feature also. Sat nav, all that sort of good stuff. Menu to get access to your Apple CarPlay, which is another good thing this car has. Coming down, we have got dual climate control and heated seats, which is definitely a bonus in this type of weather. Moving further down again, you've got your all-terrain section of the settings here for different terrain, snow, road, off-road and mountains, and whatever that one is, sand potentially. A feature this has as well is self-park, which is another really good feature. Parking sensors, and on here you do have the camera, which gets us onto another point, like I said about the towing capability. Although the camera is dirty and you can't really see much, you can change the different camera views, which this one here is specifically for your tow bar. That shows you where your tow hitch ends. The interior on the Tiguan is a really nice place to be. Now I know I could have got one with leather seats, but the two-tone cloth and Alcantara is still a very nice place to sit. The interior is very well thought out, and I'd probably say it's as luxurious as a Range Rover. Tables in the back make it really handy if you've got kids, but sorry, I haven't got any of them. It is just a really nice place, and heated seats are definitely worth picking if you frequently have passengers in the rear. What a lovely place to be. Another great thing about the interior on the Tiguan is the copious amount of space available to you in the boot. Now, already as standard, a very large boot space, but the rear seats slide forward, giving you an extra few inches of room, which can be really beneficial when you're loading up gearboxes or wheels, or even something bigger. But hats off to Volkswagen for that one. This Tiguan has had a few minor enhancements though, which don't come standard. One of which is the tow bar, which you've already seen. The brake calipers have also been painted just to break it up a little bit and make it look a little bit different from all the other Tiguans which are out there. And finally, the fog lights and the indicators on the mirrors have been tinted, again just to make it look a little less middle-aged. You're probably asking yourself, when you buy any car, what is it that I have to look out for? Is there any problems that are going to cause me issues in the future? Now, like any car, the Tiguan has got things which generically have happened to cars in the past, but ours has been pretty decent. All I've had wrong with this is the rear caliper stuck on the brakes, which we had to get sorted. The 4Motion can be problematic on these, but this has been good so far, and the panoramic sunroof can be problematic in letting water in. But again, touch wood, ours hasn't caused us any problems. There is just one problem with ours right now though, and that's the state of it. With the Tiguan clean, you can see how nice this thing really does look when it has been scrubbed up and all the winter grime is removed off it. Now, we would rate this car a solid 9 out of 10. I would recommend anyone who's in the market, unsure whether to buy one, to buy it. I know we're biased, but well, that's just our opinion. Now, if you have enjoyed this video and it has been beneficial to you, make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and hopefully we'll see you again.